Today is the 16th day of the month of Cheshvan. We are in the middle of chapter 12, discussing the laws of preparing for prayers. Today we'll be doing paragraphs 5 through 10. Paragraph 5. One is supposed to wash their hands before praying. If you washed your hand in the morning when you got up, we did Negelwasser, as we learned back in chapter 2, I believe, then technically one does not have to wash their hands again before morning services. However, chances are that we touched someplace on our body, we maybe scratched our head, which would require us to wash our hands again, and therefore it's a good idea just to be accustomed to washing your hands before praying. If one doesn't have water to wash their hands with, then they have to go search for water. It's pretty important to clean our hands before facing God. You should come with clean hands. If you can't find water, then you could wipe your hands on anything. The Cheshvan says you could, wipe your hands with pebbles or dirt, something which cleans your hands a little bit. If you can't find that, you could wipe them on a table or something like that sort. Just wipe them to get anything off. Paragraph 6. If you had washed your hands in the morning for Negelwasser, like we had just talked about, and you're not sure if you touched an unclean part of your body, if you scratched your head or touched a part of your body which is normally covered, you have to assume that you did and therefore wash your hands again. However, in this case, if you don't know for sure that you touched an uncovered part of your body, then you don't have to go searching for water. If you can't find water, you don't have to go searching for it. You can just wipe your hands on the table, find a rock or something to rub them on. Paragraph 7. It's extremely important to try to pray with a minyan, with a quorum of 10 men. The prophet in Isaiah calls praying with a minyan a favorable time, quote unquote, to connect with God, to pray to God. In addition, when we pray together with a minyan, even if we're not worthy ourselves of getting the positive answer that we're looking for, we don't deserve it ourselves, but when we're praying with a minyan, then God is much more likely to listen to our prayer because we're coming as a group. He won't look at me individually necessarily. He'll judge us as part of the group, and therefore much more likely to get a positive answer to what we're requesting. Paragraph 8. If one is in a place where he doesn't have a minyan easily available, how far does he have to travel to go find a minyan, to go pray with a minyan? So if you're traveling to a certain place, so you have to go ahead further along your travels, at least a distance called 4 mil, which is approximately 72 minutes. So if he's on the road traveling, he's got to travel another 72 minutes to get to a minyan. To go backwards, if he's traveling, he doesn't have to go backwards more than around 18 minutes to get to a minyan. And it's appropriate to not start out on a journey to go on a trip. If you know that you're going to have to daven and pray without a minyan, it's appropriate to pray first with a minyan and then head out on your trip. Paragraph 9. It's extra special to be able to pray in a room where Torah study takes place. Not that there's necessarily Torah study going on right now, but this is a room which is set aside for Torah study. Prayer in that room is very powerful. If you don't have a minyan in that room, there's a minyan somewhere else, it's best to go during the minyan. But for whatever reason, there's no minyan at all, and you're choosing where to pray, it's good to go pray in a place which is designated for Torah learning. And if you're choosing where to make the minyan and you have an opportunity of making it in a room which is used for Torah learning, that's a very special place to have the minyan be set up. Now let's say you have 2 minyan options. One is in a place where there's a room which is called a base medrash, a place of learning, but that's a very small minyan. The option B is to pray in a different place in a synagogue which has a much larger minyan. There's a concept in Judaism that we like joining with larger crowds. The more people doing something together, the more beautiful, the more impressive it is, the more of a statement it makes, and the more powerful it might be. So in this case, there's a smaller minyan in the base medrash, in the place of Torah study, and a larger minyan in the shul. What should you do? Where should you pray? Which minyan should you join? So if that base medrash, that place of Torah study, is a place where you also study Torah, it's best to pray over there, because that's your Torah study in that place could be a tremendous merit for your prayers to be accepted. However, if it happens to be a base medrash, a place of Torah study, but you don't necessarily study there yourself, therefore it's best to join the larger crowd in the shul. There's an extra merit to be one of the first 10 people of the minyan. So even though a minyan could have 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 people of the minyan, if you're one of the first 10, then on some level, you get credit for the minyan being formed, even though there's plenty of other people, but because you're one of the first 10, you're one of the originators over here, and you get tremendous credit for that minyan. Paragraph 10. There's a concept in the Jewish world called shtibel hopping. Shtibel is a Yiddish term for a small shul, off which started in the house at least. And the concept of shtibel hopping means you hop from shtibel to shtibel. You grab a minyan over here, you grab a prayer over there. You don't necessarily have a set place where you pray. Says the Cheshvan here in paragraph number 10, that's not so appropriate. It's best to have a set shul, a set synagogue, that this is the place where you pray. Not only that, within the synagogue, it's appropriate to have a specific spot that's your prayer spot. When we have a specific synagogue and a specific prayer spot within the synagogue, then that gives us certain mindfulness. When we enter into that zone, just from a mental, psychological perspective, we get into our location, we're now in the zone to pray. It helps us automatically slip into the prayer mindset when we get there. Even if somebody prays at home, it's appropriate to have a spot in the house where this is the prayer spot. We always pray by this corner of the wall over here, or in front of this part of the wall, that part of the room, to again help us automatically get into that mindset of prayer and connecting to God. This concludes today's episode. Have a wonderful day and see you tomorrow.